Okay, so it's been about a week since the LOX versus DIPSET battle went down. And if you're anything like me, you've just been locked into this. I mean, I
This
watched this
is
at least
the
about three,
moment we've
four, maybe
all been
five
waiting
times.
for.
I'll probably watch it a couple more times again after this. This is basically what we've been needing. This is like the hip hop, the true hip hop, the battling, going back and forth, the energy, the bravado. This is what we've been missing for a while. Even like I would say before the pandemic, we've been missing this, let alone with the verses. The verses, there's been some good verses here and there, but this one was just completely different. This one was just like old school battle rap mixed with, that the new verses, what's going on now. So
The LOX!
after watching it so many times, time in and time out, I can't stop thinking about it, talking about it with friends.
DIPSET!
Basically, I had to come down with this list, man. Out of all the things, I could probably name, tons more, but I had to come up with the top 10 reasons why the LOX beat the DIPSET at Verzuz. All right, so there's a lot. I could have started this in a number of different places, but I'm just going to start right here. Number one, right out of the gate, the LOX performed the song "F You."
Cam, you live in Miami. Drop that shit, Tech.
I live everywhere.
Middle fingers in the air. 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 Yeah, if you hungry, we're making fuck you. Talk with a heart full of hatred. Fuck you. And you said we wouldn't take it. Fuck you. Only my man, bloody sacred cocksucker. Fuck you.
I mean, this song has got to be one of the best songs to ever start a battle with. It was just complete energy, came out of nowhere. One of those songs that you kind of forget or even overlook that the LOX even have, or the song in general, you just kind of forget about it. But it came out of nowhere. As soon as it drops, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I do remember. But yeah, if you hope we wouldn't make it, that's like one of their first leading singles, obviously not radio single, but like one of their first singles from them being a solo artist.
You got a gut feeling about the LOX. Means you shot. If you hope we wouldn't make it, fuck you. Talk with a heart full of hatred. Fuck you. And you said we wouldn't cake it. Fuck you. Only my man, blood is sacred. Cocksucker, fuck you. I tell you in your face, fuck you. Pull it off my waist, hit you up, fuck you. And watch you die on the street, fuck you. Whoever feels sad at the funeral, fuck them too. Fuck is y'all niggas talking about?
Let's go, Mo Sticky.
Number two, the DIPSET. The DIPSET was supposed to have that stage show, They were supposed to do something to transform our minds and bring us back to that time when they could do no wrong, when they would drop a new song and it was a certified banger. When you were driving around and, it was the go-to album or CD to play, to get you in that mood, to get you hyped, to get you amped. The Dipset embodied that. And, I was one of those people that was looking forward to seeing that on that stage, whenever, regardless to whatever the LOX played. Once the Dipset got to the point where they dropped that banger, bang, that was it. Like, it didn't matter what came before, it didn't matter what came after it, they was owning the moment. And that really didn't happen. Number three, too many fumbles when the track started. The biggest thing in any concert or performance is the shock factor. When that track drops initially, it just takes everybody off guard. The biggest thing with a performance is when any song drops, or when you play a song, or when you're DJing, the crowd doesn't know what they're going to hear. They don't know what you're going to play. They don't know what you're going to play after whatever song you're playing. Like, it's the surprise and wow factor. That's why people go to parties, why people go to concerts and what have you, because they want that live entertainment. They don't know what's going to happen. So then when it gets to a point when you're dropping your song, you drop it, and then you have to stop it and bring it back for whatever reason.
Yeah, you know. Hold on. Hold, baby. Pull that back. Hold on, don't drop that yet. Hold on. Don't drop that yet.
Stop. Come on, Killer, don't do that. Y'all just did 9 songs.
It dampens it. It brings down the excitement factor. Because as soon as it dropped, an instance, you know, an example is when Ballin'. You know, when Ballin' dropped, you know, Ballin' is one of the biggest, arguably probably the biggest club record ever. And when you dropped it, when they dropped it that night, it was a huge response, huge, you know, audience response. But then right after that, Jim Jones stopped it. He stopped the track for whatever he did, you know, he got the chain or whatever, you know, that's, you know, irrelevant. So the point I'm making right now, he stopped the track.
Hold on. Go. Yeah.
Tech going to the neighborhood. Finally.
Mother, get me right. Hold on. Let him go. Watch it. You move over. Come here, Mother. Get me right. Get the thing. Get me right. Get the thing with the thing. Get the thing with the thing. Act the thing with the thing and the thing with the thing. Give him the thing with the thing.
That is so corny.
That
is like over. That was real
cute. I had to get extra 200 for you.
That was real cute. Go ahead, do the song, baby. That was nice.
You ready, Mom? Let's get it right.
Don't give it back after the song.
I wear a mean dark pair of shades.
Get the fuck out of here.
You can't see my eyes unless my head is bent. You dig?
No lie.
You know it is.
Hey, go, ladies. Stay fly. No lie. Are we balling? Let's go.
Don't stop the track. When it track dropped, when it's hidden, Everybody's loving it, listening to it. Everybody's cheering along. And then you stop the track. You kill that momentum. And then he got the chain, whatever. Then he goes back, asks the DJ to drop it again. The DJ takes a couple, 2 seconds too long to drop it. And then the moment is gone. The moment is killed. It didn't matter whenever it dropped. It did drop. He performed it, whatever. The moment is gone. And it was just too many moments like that, you know, throughout the night. You know, just too many fumbles. Number 4. All right, so you can tell that the LOX had it predetermined that whenever DIPSET played a certain song, they were going to come back with a response record. No matter what order they played it, you know, they didn't have a specific order that they were following. You know, they knew that whenever the DIPSET played Welcome to New York City,
Welcome to New York City. Welcome to DIPSET City.
they were going to come back and play I'm from New York.
I got 100 clips, nigga, I'm from New York. What? Friday D block and shit, nigga, fuck what you know. And you can't take shit for granted, cause life is too short. You know I got them set. I got 100 guns, 100 clips. Nigga, I'm from New York. I swear it couldn't be sweeter. Life's a bitch depending on how you treat her. Might get rich.
They knew that. Hands down. They knew that whenever the DIPSET played Ballin', that they were going to play It's All About the Benjamins.
Benjamin, let's go. Benjamin.
Sit down, little nigga. Go sit down, little nigga. Sit your ass down, Jimmy. Sit down, little. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. It's all about the Benjamins. And now, what y'all want to do?
They knew it. Hands down. Didn't matter what order it came up. They knew it. They had a game plan. You could tell with their DJ. They were going off, or they were going to go off of what happened that night live. And that's what you want. That's what you expect. That's what true hip hop is.
One of the differences is the DJ is like the quarterback.
Hello?
He is, man.
Facts.
Very important.
Facts.
Very,
Quarterback.
very important. You know when I knew, I mean, yo, let me tell you some crazy shit. Like,
You know, when I knew Tech was gonna kill him, because we just did a show recently in Virginia with Dipset, right? And we killed that shit, right? And then I seen how they came out. Like Cam came out by himself, he had his own DJ. Jim came out by himself, he had his own. Everybody had separate DJs. I said, oh, we're gonna destroy this shit. They don't even like, you know what I mean? I said it wasn't that you can't fake chemistry. Long story short.
You feel like the chemistry wasn't 100%?
Oh, duh. No, I mean for that night, but you got to come together for that. Our shit wasn't like fake. Our shit was real. Like I said on stage, Cam went. Let's give it up for Cam. Let's give it up for Jim. Let's give it like it wasn't no. We come out there together and get busy together. When I seen that they had separate DJs, I said, "Oh, Tech, you're gonna destroy these niggas."
Number 5. All right, so this one is the elephant in the room. I don't even really know how to start this one off, but all right, so I'll just say that there's a lot of different storylines about this battle, about these two groups, but there's one standout elephant in the room between both of these groups. You know, one in the LOX and one in the Dipset. I'll go to the LOX first. One elephant in the room with the LOX is Jadakiss' hair. He's been bald all of his career. He's had the baldy. Now all of a sudden he has hair. He came out of nowhere. How did he get here? Did he all of a sudden start growing it? Hair patches, whatever. We don't know. We don't necessarily care, but that's an elephant in the room. So they had their moment when they played, I think it was New York, where Jadakiss took off his hat and showed his hair.
Yes, I'm outside. Always deep. I like this.
We had that moment. So that was like the elephant in the room. Even though people have seen his hair, he showed his hair before. You've seen it. But like for that night, for the performance, he took off his hat. You see his hair. Everybody's thinking it, whatever. He took it off. Fine. All good to go. We're not thinking about it anymore. He basically cleared the elephant from the room. So the elephant in the room of the Dipset is Joel Santana's teeth. We know that he lost his teeth, I guess. You know, his teeth, he didn't have front teeth beforehand. I don't know how, why, whatever. That part is irrelevant. But the elephant in the room is, does he have teeth now? You know, he came to the performance. That's the elephant in the room or whatever. Like, does he have teeth? You're looking at him, you know, he's rapping, he's performing. You can't really tell. He doesn't ever really open up his mouth wide enough to see if his teeth are there or if they're not there. So the whole night, that's the elephant in the room. You know, that's one of the elephants in the room. Something that's in people's head that they're not sure about, that people wouldn't really talk about, but it's just in your head as something where you're just looking to see. And it never came to a point where that was revealed, where he showed that, you know, like Jadakiss did, you know, just came to the moment, he pulled off his hat, whatever you want to think, fine. But he took off his hat. It should have been a moment where Joel was just like, you know, whatever, just smiled at the camera, smiled to the crowd. Something like that should have came up where he showed his teeth. After the verses dropped, there was something else, I think a promo video or something like that, where I seen he actually had teeth. So I'm like, all right, so he has teeth. So I feel like that was an elephant in the room moment where he could have showed it, you know, he could have smiled. That could have been like a nice little cheeky moment, you know, with the crowd to connect with the crowd, like, you know, get that little monkey off your back, get the elephant out of the room to get the crowd like on your side, rooting for you, basically, rooting back for you. So that's that. So number 6, it's kind of like, you know, watching the whole performance, it was kind of like the set was getting punked. Like the whole night, basically. You know, from the beginning when Sheik Luke said...
Hold on. Before we go on, we ready. Everybody off the stage. Go ahead, Poppin'. Go ahead, Poppin'. Yo, hold on, Tech. Before we go on, right? Let me look at these niggas, man.
Word up, Luke.
That's what you need to do, nigga, the way you looking. You need to look at us niggas, man. You need to look at us niggas. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do.
Pussy-ass niggas.
You need to take some motherfucking notes, nigga. You need to take notes, nigga.
From Walmart.
You need to take notes, nigga. That's what they need to do. They need to watch this shit, yo.
Set it off.
They need to watch this shit.
Set it off. Set it off. Take a shower. Tell your DJ, set it off. Yo. Tell your DJ, set it off.
Come on, Don.
And the set really didn't do or really say anything back with the flag. When Jadakiss took his flag and threw it on the ground.
Blood on your waist, gun in your ear, back of your sock, blade at the back of the block. instead of the 6. Cause why you looking for a bitch? We looking for a brick that we can cook by 6 to give the whole block a fix. Catch me OT, get sick of your shit.
I mean, there was a couple of moments back and forth like the whole night. And even with, Styles P, I guess, trying to pull Cameron off the seat.
Learn the ropes, don't listen to song. They call me SP and I'll spill your form. You can die cause the shit might happen to me, but I'ma still happen to be. Fuck with bitches that be rapping the, and them niggas that bug over drug money, clapping the D's, fighting the moods in the 9 full of trees. 1 in the morning, catch me with a gun in the...
Cameron kicked him. Then Styles was kind of like wrestling with Cameron. You know, it was chip. It was, as Styles said, it was chippy, but it was like, antics and drama, like back and forth. But for the most part, it's kind of like the LOX was punking DIPSET, whatever, that night. I just feel like it wasn't enough comebacks. I know it's just entertainment. It's all fun and games, whatever. They're really brothers. They're cool, whatever.
Said we was gonna get chippy,
But this my bro for real.
this is love, man. New York City.
Yeah.
We gonna play around. We gonna push each other.
100%.
We gonna wrestle. We gonna do all that. But we said that before we got here. We ain't gonna fuck that money up, Love is love.
But, there was jokes going back and forth, but when certain things is done, all right, so you gotta take it up, Annie. You gotta top them, basically. I'm not saying they should have got into like any fist fights or anything like that, but like, all right, so Jadakiss violated. That is a violation. If somebody take anything off, not even a flag, if somebody take your hat off, somebody takes something that you're wearing from you and throw it on the ground, that's a violation. So you're supposed to do something back. I'm not saying you should have fought them or whatever, but take Jadakiss's hat off, throw it on the ground. Like, something. You gotta do something back.
I ain't get mad when he touched my bandana.
That got it clear to say.
I know these are scary
I love
hoes,
you.
nigga.
Don't do that.
That's
That's
where
I love you.
That's where it
They nervous. They nervous. They nervous.
But I ain't gonna do you like that.
They nervous, huh?
And it was just too many moments where like nothing was done. I feel like they was kind of getting punked in a way.
Yo, Sway, as soon as I walked out there, I said, let me look at these pussy ass niggas, man. I wanted to set that immediately on my silverback shit. Like, yo, they was shocked off that. Like, oh
Shit. Yo, but you did it like this. Sheik shut down. You had the whole garden silent. Like, I thought you was about to give some words of motivation. Like, yo, before we get started, we are here in unity. And you said, let me look in the face of these pussy ass
niggas. I walked up on all them niggas, man. 100%.
Number 7, there was too many mess ups with the lyrics for the Dipset. There was too many moments where they was fumbling with the words. Look, I get it. You wrote these lyrics a long time ago, whatever, even though you perform them a lot. Like, you do performances. These are your lyrics. So this is something that you should be going through on the daily, on the monthly, the weekly, whenever, however often you do performances. Like, this should be like second nature to you. So I feel like you really shouldn't be forgetting lyrics. But it was too many times where, for instance, Welcome to New York City. Joel Santana just butchered the hook on that one. All he had was the hook. He didn't even have a verse on that one, so it wasn't much to remember. But it was that. I think Jimmy messed up flubbed a couple lyrics.
I'm hard body low, I got the flow. That big body, the top of flow.
It's our turn, right? What song was that, New York? That new song? I don't know that shit.
It's not the end of the day, but when you're going up against somebody like the LOX who pride themselves on their lyrics, they didn't mess up near a time. I think it was one time I remember Jadakiss messed up on his Who Shot Your freestyle.
Fucking words,
Listen, New York, they causing a distraction. This is hip hop. We in the Mecca of New York. It's D-Block, it's Dipset.
Turn the
Why
words
they don't
on.
know the words? words. Yo, Tech, let's make something happen. New York. Hots, turn the mic up, Hots. It's that time, motherfuckers. These niggas don't rhyme like us. All praises, all burners, all raises. Hand down, nigga, the game is all jaders. Anything drop, I cop in all flavors. He's a dick, you pussy, y'all neighbors.
But not even messed up. He just missed a word. He didn't say a word.
You's a coward in jail, you can never live. Yeah, you barely living out here. It's like I'm giving, you barely giving out air. The reason you breathing is like I'm giving out air.
It wasn't even that he messed up, but that was just one time. That was it. But that was happening like way too many times. Then also with that one, I'll just say that there was times when Dipset like had to like yell and scream over their own records.
I can do your song. Happy you let she rap.
Yo, when I say dip, nigga, you say dip. Dip. When I say dip, you say dip. Okay. Y'all can't fuck with us.
No way.
Today's a new day. Got the booty. I'm in a suitcase. Going down the hall. Tell him. You tell him it's August. I'm going to November. I need a couple birds. Get a bird, Em. Please. Come on, bird. Em. Please. Come on, niggas. Come on, squad, Em. Please. I see a town. I see these niggas getting scared of the town. I like it. I'm gonna put the pound in like it's my block now. All right, kid. He understood me quite clear. The bang on the ring on the side of his right here. And I got back to my business. Back to my bitches. Back to my that pirate vision.
And I think part of it was because of the, they had the lyrics playing in their track. But, I feel like part of it, I'm not sure what it was, but I feel like a lot of times I'm looking at their performance or, when they performed their tracks, they were like yelling. They had to yell their lyrics. Like LOX never had to yell their lyrics. Just, they was cool, calm, collective. Like, it basically sound as if they were rapping it on the track. So number 8. All right. So being that the LOX have never been like a true A-list star in hip hop. I say that with all due respect. They've been close. You could say that at times Jada has been A-list. Styles have been kind of A-list. They had his moment. And that's the interesting thing about the LOX. They all had a moment where they were like the top guy in their group. In the beginning, when they were with Bad Boy, Sheik was like supposed to be like that number one star, that number one guy they were pushing out to the forefront. And then after that, Jadakiss had his moment where he stepped up and he was the clear number one. He was going at it with everybody from rap, from Jay-Z to Beanie, whoever. And then Styles even had his moment where he was like the number one, where everybody was looking at him like, during his Ghost moments where he was like, he was the illest, whatever. And you would think that he was the best out of the LOX. But as a collective, they always have been kind of like just under that upper echelon of rappers. So with that being said, the Dipset haven't been like that. They've had moments or had a huge moment where they were like an A-list star. They were like that number one. So with that being said, the LOX, when a lot of their songs hit, it was a good chance you haven't heard that song in a while or you haven't heard that song at all.
Fucking these niggas talking about. And we get done. Turn it up off the board, nigga. Turn it up. Fucking these niggas talking about. They can never fuck with us. Never. Let's go. Couldn't live the life I live. Why's that? Cause I can die any minute. I get high every minute. Fucking with snake niggas and sleeping with foul bitches. Came through in the latest whip with 2 pounds in it. Pull over with a hustler's beat. Why's that? Cause I get chills when you talk a hustling keys. So I'm always where the powder be at. What it mean? I can blow 5 bricks to 10 in an hour with that. Stay away from where the cowards be at. Why's that? Cause time is money and God, I can't get an hour back.
So like that was a thing where it's been a while. So like with the song like F.U. or with the other song, with the freestyle that they dropped.
Think it's a game, I'ma catch you when you leave in the district. Dying in the mind, so is the loose gas. Crime on my mind, I can shoot through the goose. Let's go. Just let the hammer go blast all day. I get the cash for a jag. Out of fast all way, y'all niggas is young bucks at it. If it look like beef, I gun buck at it. To the clip empty, look at the yak bottle. The whole fifth empty. I don't give a fuck, I never have. If you and I reach your head and stand. My niggas get drunk like they Irish. Rap with the virus. This is Warriors. I would have been Cyrus.
The chest, the back to back, when that one dropped.
Now let us show you where this shit started.
Turn
Drop
that
that
shit
shit
up,
down.
louder,
A$AP Ferg, what up, nigga?
Ferg, I love you, baby.
Woo! Ferg, I know your father, too. Oh my God, they can't do this.
They don't got no freestyles.
Yo, LOX, chest to chest, back to back, block for block, mat for mat, dope and crack.
It's like that song in particular, I think I only heard that a couple times. They played songs that you haven't heard in a while. So when it was dropping, it sounded newer. Like it was like hearing something you never heard before. So they had that to the advantage. Now, Dipset could have came back and smashed that theory because they have bangers. So in theory, when you playing bangers and you in a concert atmosphere, you should be able to come back and bang and kill them, you know. But a lot of times it didn't go down like that night. Number 9. All right, so there was no real shock or wow factor with Dipset. You know, aside from them bringing out the beach chairs, you know, they literally just played the songs like straight from the albums and they performed it. They performed over it. You know, they never got to a point where they switched it up, you know, where like with the LOX, when they were doing a particular record and then they switched up the beat for a certain part of it. You know, they brought in different DJ aspects of it, you know, like, you know, they took it back to like at the essence where it was MC and a DJ and they would play off each other and, you know, they would mix it up. You know, the Dipset never even got to the point where like they went a cappella, you know, at certain times. You know, they did a couple times at the end of songs, but it just, at the end of the song, it just like the song had just ran out and they were just saying the words just to say them.
48 live niggas, buy the biggest swab. And when they catch us, we gon' get the biggest job. Still slinging cocaine, boy. Still gang banging with my gang, boy. Swagged up, still rocking big chains, boy. 48. I'm smoking dope.
You know the words
Straight
or
out
not?
of gas mask. It's Big P's, non-trade, really badass. I'm selling coke, Roger Quote, I matched that, nigga. Matter of fact, I got him for half that.
But like it didn't deliver with like feeling and like and hard hitting. So that was a knock. Like they didn't have the shock or the wow factor. Number 10, the LOX know what they're good at and leaned into that. And I feel like the Dipset just didn't really do that. You know, the Dipset is known for that Harlem swag, you know, for that braggadocious, you know, lifestyle or raps and kind of flashiness or whatever of the Dipset. And they just didn't own in on that. You know, they didn't lean into that. You know, there's tons of stuff that they could have did. You know, Cam could have brought out the pink truck. Like that could have been ill. There could have been an outfit change. Like Cameron could have switched up, came out all pink real quick for a couple songs. You know, he had the Purple Haze days. He could have switched it up, did something with that. There was tons of stuff. I mean, think about when they had Scissor. You know, they could have switched up, did a whole Scissor set, you know, point intended. But like, you know, there's tons of different interesting things they could have did, you know, like that was just groundbreaking, you know, just to remind people of the cultural impact that they had, you know, and still have, and, you know, show how they changed the game, you know, into what it is right now. So I feel like that they dropped the ball on that front. All right. So bonus, I'm going to throw a bonus at you. The features, being that, you know, it's a couple days after the battle, the LOX, you know, did a couple interviews and, you know, they talked about the battle and they talked about the fact that they had the chance to do or bring a couple feature artists to the Verzuz stage, but they chose not to do it. They were talking about that they were thinking about bringing Mace, you know, even Diddy, or you know, they could have brought Eve, you know, which would have been, you know, all fine, whatever. But the set should have legitimately brought up a couple features. I wouldn't even call them features. They should have brought up a couple people like Hell Rel, maybe J.R. Ryder, maybe 40 Cal.
But there is an overwhelming consensus that the scale could have been tipped a little more with
on the lyrical side,
with you guys' presence.
Yes.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I tried my best to make it happen. Like, I was supposed to, like, you know what I mean? Quiet as kept. I was supposed to make it happen. Supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? And last minute, I didn't get a word back. Once I didn't see a word back, I got a few investors that I deal with. Once I didn't get a word back, you know, they caught wind of it, and they was like, you know what? We're going to give you a look anyway at the Garden, and we're going to pay you to walk out. We're going to pay you, Hell Rel, and 40 to walk out the main event, my guy Michael Hunter. So, you know, that's how that went. And we enjoyed the rest of the night. We made our money. We got our look, and we went to our seats, you know?
You know, just to do, you know, a quick verse here, quick freestyle here, you know, just to surprise them, just to come out of nowhere with it. Because technically, they are in the DIPSET. They were from the DIPSET, from the era. I would have loved to hear Hell Rel come out of nowhere, you know, spit that freestyle they spit on Diplomatic Immunity, acapella. Like, that would have been ill. That would have been something to surprise everybody, and to come back directly at Jadakiss, at, you know, what they were doing with the freestyles and trying to emphasize on spitting. You know, they could have came back, and then that could have spawned into something else. You know, maybe they could have got into like some little live back and forth freestyle battle. You never know, but that's something that the DIPSET has in their arsenal where they could have pulled out. They had the moment at the end where Cameron, he wanted to spit, or, you know, he tried to spit his freestyle. I'm not sure why, if that was the right timing. It didn't go down right. You know, he damn near almost got booed, and it wasn't the right timing. It definitely wasn't the right rap. Regardless of that, no matter what, you're supposed to just finish it. Supposed to just finish your rap. That's like hands down, like rule number one. If you would just spit it straight up front, went straight through it, it probably would have been fine. But he spit it, he stopped, he was getting distracted, and then it kind of edged people on to start booing a little bit, or whatever. So it didn't have to happen. All right, I'll give you another one. Number 12. I guess for the most part, I'll borrow one of Cameron's disses on the LOX that night. You know, you kind of forget that the LOX was the best side dishes of a couple of the greatest hip-hop groups and labels of all time. You know what that is? That's Bad Boy and Rough Riders. They have songs where they went like toe-to-toe with the greatest, and they played those tracks that night.
Hold on. Are you kidding me? We got Grammys, nigga. We got Grammys. These niggas don't know what Grammys look like. They know what grams look like. We got Grammys.
Don't fucking play with us. Let's go. Turn the music up.
Back rap, nigga. Hey, ain't no money in the world. Couldn't even amount to a teaspoon of honey when it melt your mouth.
They got songs with Big, that's classic. They got songs with DMX, that's classic. Plus, they got a couple songs with Jay-Z, that's classic. For instance, one of those songs, 24 Hours to Live. You know, that's a song that you kind of forget about. Like, it was so long ago, and it's one of those songs that you don't really hear often at all. But when you do hear it, it brings you back. I mean, you know, when that song dropped, it was like the theme of a blockbuster movie.
24, nigga gotta get the raw. Run on in pocket spot, put one in his head at the door.
For the times that I paid for 20,
and he gave me 12.
Other ain't had to be
Baby soda by itself.
Fuck you, you dead now.
I'm off to the bank with those bricks in the book bag. The store the jack I just grabbed. Running in,
Grab the big teller
with a pretty face. Fuck me in the safe ever take me to my plane.
It was just like incredible, the theme or the concept of that song. And then, you know, I think they only did Sheik's part in that one. Like, they could have did each of the members' part in that one. It would have been sick. They should have like drugged that out. Like, that could have been sick. So I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. There's tons more reasons why, or, you know, things I could have named. But, you know, I'll just say, you know, after that battle was over, or towards, you know, when it was over, you know, all I could hear in my head was,
Sing! Sing where you at?
you know, Beanie Siegel. I think that's the only person that could take down Jadakiss lyrically. even on that versus stage, I mean, State Property versus the LOX, of course the LOX would probably win just basing it off of their singles and, and the songs that they have. But when it comes to rapping, when it comes to spitting, if you make it like a spitting versus where they just going at each other, back to back, just going at it, whatever, not even new freestyles, but just freestyles that they had going at each other and freestyle records that they have in general. Make it that kind of versus, and Beanie Siegel is the only person that will be able to take down Jada. I mean, that would be something to see with, them two going up against each other in that aspect. And, they had their moment in the past where they were beefing, but everybody's growing up. We don't got to take it, that serious, whatever. Just on some lyrical stuff, we've been missing it. I would like to see that versus. So I'm just putting that out there.
How did it go when it was over? What happened?
Right.
Just a bunch of fake hugs. A bunch of fake hugs and shit like that. Like, yo, they like, when you lost. It was that kind of shit. Like, it was that. Like, yo, man, this is big for hip hop, my nigga. Yeah, all right, nigga, we just fucked y'all up.
Oh, wow.
Get off the phone, Get off the phone.
So, all right, thanks for checking in. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you guys enjoyed this content and want to see more content, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe, if you like the video, if you share, and I'll check in with you guys sometime soon.
This is an Elevate Technology exclusive.